Dive into the depths of history as we unravel the intertwined tales of Russia and Ukraine. In the vast expanse of the Eurasian landmass, two nations stand out in their cultural richness and historical significance: Russia and Ukraine. Their stories, though distinct, are woven together in a tapestry of shared heritage and diverging paths. Let's journey back to the origins of these nations. Russia, the largest country in the world, traces its roots back to the 9th century with the establishment of the East Slavic state of Kievan Rus. Over the centuries, through periods of expansion, contraction, revolution, and rebirth, Russia has grown into a global powerhouse, a nation of proud people, and a culture that has contributed immensely to the world's literature, music, and visual arts. Parallel to this, Ukraine has a history just as rich and complex. It was in the heartland of the Kievan Rus that Ukraine found its origins. Over time, Ukraine developed its unique identity, influenced by a variety of cultures and powers that have swept across its plains. Today, Ukraine is a vibrant nation, where the echoes of its historical struggles for independence resonate in its culture, language, and traditions. The cultural tapestry of these nations is as diverse as their landscapes. From the balalaikas and matryoshka dolls of Russia to the vyshyvankas and sunflower fields of Ukraine, each nation boasts symbols and traditions that encapsulate their unique identities. Yet intertwined within these distinct cultures, there's a shared Slavic heritage, a common thread that binds them together. Despite their shared origins, the paths of Russia and Ukraine diverged over the centuries. Their histories have been marked by periods of cooperation and conflict, alliances, and animosity. The complex relationship between these two nations has been shaped by geopolitical realities, historical events, and deep-seated sentiments, making their tale a captivating study of nationhood and identity. These two nations, although distinct, share a common history that has been marked by both cooperation and conflict. As we delve deeper into their intertwined narratives, we'll uncover the complexity of their past, the realities of their present, and the uncertainties of their future. A tale of two nations indeed. Trace the historical roots of the current conflict between Russia and Ukraine. As we delve into the past, we find that the origins of the conflict between these two nations are deeply rooted in their shared history. A significant chapter begins in the late 20th century, specifically during the dissolution of the Soviet Union. With Ukraine gaining independence in 1991, the seeds of a deep-seated discord were sown. The disagreement over territories and political ideologies became the focal point of the rising tension. The historically Russian-dominated region of Crimea, which became part of an independent Ukraine, was a subject of contention. The situation was further complicated by the cultural, linguistic, and political divide between the eastern and western parts of Ukraine. The East, with its strong Russian influence, and the West, leaning towards the European Union, found themselves on opposite ends of a widening rift. Over the years, this fracture grew, fueled by political maneuverings and nationalistic sentiments. The Orange Revolution of 2004, a peaceful protest against a rigged presidential election, was a key event that marked an escalation in these tensions. It highlighted Ukraine's struggle for democracy and its desire to shift away from Russia's influence. In 2013, Ukraine's decision to postpone an association agreement with the European Union in favor of stronger ties with Russia ignited widespread protests. This event, known as the Euromaidan, was a turning point. It led to the ousting of then-President Viktor Yanukovych, further escalating the political turmoil. The annexation of Crimea by Russia in 2014 was the spark that ignited the full-blown conflict we see today. It was a move that shocked the world, leading to a serious international crisis and marking the start of the Russo-Ukrainian War. What started as a disagreement over territories and political ideologies spiraled into a full-blown conflict, forever changing the landscape of these two nations. Witness the harsh reality of war and its devastating impact on the people and the land. War, by its very nature, is a destructive force, leaving in its wake a trail of devastation and despair. The conflict between Russia and Ukraine is no exception. The human cost of this war is staggering, with thousands of lives lost and countless more forever scarred by the violence. Mothers have lost sons, children have been orphaned, and families have been torn apart. The emotional toll on the survivors is immeasurable, as they grapple with the loss of loved ones and the trauma of war. But the cost of war is not only human. The infrastructure of both countries has been severely damaged. Hospitals, schools, and homes, once symbols of life and learning, are now reduced to rubble. The war has disrupted essential services, leaving many without access to healthcare, education, or even basic necessities like food and water. The economic cost is equally significant, with the war draining resources and stalling development in both countries. The environmental impact is another facet of the war's cost. The beautiful landscapes of both countries have been marred by the scars of war. Forests have been burned, rivers polluted, and the air filled with the acrid smoke of battle. The war has disrupted ecosystems and threatened the biodiversity of the region, but perhaps the most tragic cost of this war is the loss of potential. The potential for growth, for progress, for a peaceful coexistence that has been thwarted by the conflict. The young lives cut short, the talents wasted, the dreams shattered. These are the true costs of war. As we delve into the harsh realities of this conflict, we must remember that behind every statistic is a human story. Every casualty represents a life cut short, a family grieving, a community in mourning. Every damaged building is a lost safe haven, a disrupted education, a healthcare system in ruins. Every war has a price, and this conflict has exacted a heavy toll on both Russia and Ukraine. The cost of war is vast and multifaceted, affecting not just the present but also casting a long shadow over the future. Explore the international response to this conflict and the humanitarian efforts made to alleviate the suffering. The world in many ways bore witness to the conflict and stepped up to assist. International organizations, along with foreign nations, were quick to extend a helping hand. They offered aid and support to the regions most affected by the destructive war, delivering much-needed relief to a population under siege. The role of these international entities was pivotal. They provided food, medical supplies, shelter, and other necessities to those displaced by the war. But their role went beyond tangible assistance. They also served as a lifeline, a beacon of hope for people caught in the crossfire. These organizations and countries didn't just offer aid, they brought attention to the crisis, rallying the global community to take notice and act. In the face of adversity, the world has shown its ability to come together and provide support. Embark on a journey towards peace and reconciliation between Russia and Ukraine. In the midst of the storm that is conflict, the beacon of hope is the pursuit of peace. Nations in their essence are but a collective of human souls yearning for tranquility and prosperity. Russia and Ukraine, despite the tumultuous past, are no exception. The journey towards peace is a multifaceted endeavor. It involves not just the two nations at odds, but the collective effort of the international community. The United Nations, the European Union, and various other international bodies have tirelessly worked to mediate the conflict, encouraging diplomatic dialogue over military action. There have been significant milestones on this path. Peace talks, though challenging, have seen moments of progress. There have been ceasefires, agreements on prisoner exchanges, and discussions on potential political solutions. Each step, no matter how small, is a testament to the power of dialogue and the human spirit's inherent desire for peace. Yet it's important to acknowledge that the road to resolution is not linear. There are setbacks, disagreements, and instances of renewed tensions. These are not signs of failure but rather reminders of the complexity of the situation. They underline the importance of patience, persistence, and flexibility in the quest for peace. The role of civil society cannot be overstated in this context. Ordinary citizens, activists, and non-governmental organizations in both Russia and Ukraine have been instrumental in advocating for peace, human rights, and reconciliation. Their voices serve as a powerful reminder that at the heart of this conflict are people, families, communities who yearn for an end to hostility. In the grand scheme of things, the path to peace is akin to weaving a tapestry. Each thread, each color contributes to the final masterpiece. Similarly, every effort, every dialogue, every act of compassion brings us one step closer to a harmonious coexistence. The road to peace is long and winding, but with determination and mutual respect, Russia and Ukraine can find a way to coexist in harmony. Peace is not merely the absence of war, but the presence of justice, the practice of tolerance, and the celebration of diversity. With this understanding, the quest for peace continues.